there, my name is Irina Yashin-Shaw, Innovation and Creativity Expert, speaker, author, leadership mentor. Here's a question for you. Would you like to become even smarter and more talented? Well, you can, because our brains are even more plastic than originally thought. The last couple of decades of brain research has revealed some fascinating findings about how our brain adapts to different kinds of activities. One very clear finding is that our capacities, that is our IQ and abilities and talents, are not fixed entities as once thought. In fact, they evolve in response to how we engage in particular kinds of practice and behaviour. Now, in their recent book called Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise, Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole present the compelling research evidence to show that we get smarter and even more talented in areas that we focus on using an approach that they call deliberate practice, which is a particular methodology for learning. If we're aiming for expertise in any field, whether it's music or mathematics or memorization or sports or chess or carpentry, physics, design, art, or any other discipline at all, the trick is to practice. Well, of course, that's obvious, isn't it? But it has to be a particular kind of practice and not just repetition. Repetition alone doesn't develop expertise. Rather, the focus must be on how to improve. And this entails finding new ways of systematically experimenting with things that are just beyond our comfort zone, focusing on concentrating hard on particular aspects of skill development rather than just on general overall improvement, and becoming highly tuned to our performance so that we can spot our own mistakes and self-monitor. So what's new? On their own, none of these concepts are particularly new. The greatest 20th century Russian educational psychologist, Lev Vygotsky, called that the zone of proximal development, which is that area beyond our comfort zone. He actually called it zona ближайшего развития, but most of teachers call it scaffolding. And when we get good at reflecting on our own performance and monitoring ourselves and making decisions about how best to improve our learning and performance, it's referred to as metacognition and self-directed learning. These are all concepts that have a good body of rigorous research to substantiate them. However, what is new is the insights that we're beginning to glimpse from the last decade of neuroscience research into how our brain physically adapts and recalibrates in response to these kinds of learning activities. So when we approach skill development in this very deliberate and purposeful way, our brain responds by adapting the parts required in the performance of this skill. Neural pathways are rerouted, and sometimes even new neurons are grown. In other words, the structure of the brain changes in response to this intense training. This changed structure not only improves our performance on the road to mastery, but actually increases our capacity to continue that improvement. In other words, we become more able, more talented, and potentially smarter in relation to that particular discipline. Your IQ is not set in stone. These findings challenge traditional notions that talent and IQ are immutable, innate properties, that people who reach the pinnacle of performance in particular fields do so because they are naturals, just born with a particular capacity that inevitably destines them for greatness in their field. Now we know that we can actually grow our talent, our IQ and smarts if we approach the process of acquiring mastery in a particular way. Our amazing brains rise to the challenge and help us on that road to peak performance. Contact me if you'd like to take your team on a journey to become even more effective, creative problem solvers.